In a small, quiet village tucked between green hills and winding rivers, two boys grew up like brothers. Their names were Arav and Rohan. From the time they could walk, they were inseparable. They chased kites across fields, swam in the cool river during long summers, and lay beneath the stars, whispering their dreams to the night sky. Both shared the same childhood games, the same laughter, and the same teachers. But as they grew older, their paths slowly began to look different. Rohan was brilliant. His mind was sharp and his memory keen. Every exam he took, he excelled. Teachers praised him, neighbors spoke proudly of him, and his parents glowed with pride. He collected medals, certificates, and trophies, and soon became the boy every parent wished their child could be. Arav was different. Books never fascinated him. He struggled to memorize long lessons, his mind wandering to the shapes of clouds or the feel of wood beneath his fingers. While Rohan's notebooks were filled with neat handwriting, Arav's were covered with doodles and sketches of birds, houses, and tools. He had a gift with his hands. He could take a broken chair and mend it so skillfully it looked new. He could carve little wooden animals that looked almost alive. But because school measured intelligence in numbers and grades, no one noticed Arav's talent. Instead, he noticed something else: comparison. Every time Rohan topped the class, Arav felt smaller. Every time teachers praised Rohan, Arav's heart shrank a little. He began to hear an unspoken sentence in his mind: "You are not enough." Years passed. Rohan's success grew brighter, Arav's insecurities grew heavier. After graduation, Rohan left the village. He earned a scholarship, studied in the city, and soon landed a high-paying corporate job. He wore polished suits, lived in shining apartments, and traveled across the country. Letters from his parents carried stories of his success back to the village, where people spoke his name with admiration. Arav stayed. With little money and no interest in city life, he opened a small shop in the village. There, he repaired broken furniture and carved wooden art pieces. His work was honest and beautiful, but in his own eyes, it seemed ordinary. Every time he heard about Rohan's promotions or saw his polished photographs, the same thought returned. If only I were like Rohan, my life would be better. One summer, after many years, Rohan returned to the village for a short vacation. The whole village buzzed with excitement. The boy who had left had come back a man of success. When Arav heard the news, he felt both joy and dread. Joy because he would see his childhood friend again. Dread because he feared the mirror Rohan's success would hold up to his own life. The two met by the riverbank that evening, the same place where they had once spent countless evenings skipping stones and dreaming of the future. Rohan, dressed simply, looked almost the same, though the city had given him a sharper posture and a confident air. "Arav," he said warmly, embracing his old friend. "It's been too long." Arav smiled, though his eyes were clouded. "Yes, too long." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the water lap against the shore. Finally, unable to contain the storm inside him, Arav spoke. His voice was low, almost breaking. "Rohan, I feel like I've wasted my life." Rohan turned, surprised. "Look at you," Arav continued, his words spilling out. "You are successful, rich, respected, and me? I'm just fixing chairs and tables. People come to me only when something is broken. Compared to you, I am nothing." The confession hung heavy in the air. Arav lowered his eyes, ashamed. Rohan said nothing at first. He looked at Arav for a long time, the way a teacher studies a student before giving the lesson he most needs. Then, quietly, he spoke. "Arav, our lives are not a race on the same track. They're completely different journeys. If you keep staring into my lane, you will stumble in your own. Do you know the funny thing? In the city, with all my money, there are days I wish I had your peaceful life here. A life where the stars are visible at night, where neighbors know each other's names, where the work of your hands brings beauty and meaning. Arav looked up, startled. You? Envious of me? Rohan nodded. Yes, because success, my friend, is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the best version of yourself. Those words hit Arav's heart like lightning. For the first time, he realized the mistake he had been making all along. He had been measuring his worth with someone else's ruler. From that day, something shifted inside Arav. He stopped comparing himself to Rohan or anyone else. Instead, he began to see value in what he already had. He poured his heart into his craft, experimenting with new designs, learning from travelers who passed through, and perfecting every detail. His little shop, once quiet and overlooked, began to draw attention. People admired the beauty of his furniture, the uniqueness of his carvings. Word spread to nearby towns, then to cities, and soon Arav's work was being ordered by merchants and displayed in richy homes. But the true change was not in his shop, it was in his heart. No longer did he lie awake at night haunted by comparison. Instead, he slept peacefully knowing he was walking his own path, not Rohan's, not anyone else's. His worth was no longer tied to grades on money or status. It was tied to the joy he found in creating, the smiles of those who received his work, the quiet pride of doing what he loved. Years later, Arav stood in front of a group of young students in the village school. He had been invited to speak about his journey, a request that would have once terrified him. Now he stood calmly, his hands steady, his voice firm. He looked at the eager faces before him and smiled. "Never compare your life to someone else's," he said. "A mango tree will never grow roses, but that does not make the mango less valuable. The sun and the moon shine at different times, yet both are needed. If the moon tried to shine like the sun, the world would lose its night. If the sun envied the moon, the world would lose its day." He paused, letting the words settle. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not a copy of someone else. Comparison is the thief of joy. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. The students sat in silence, their young hearts holding on to the lesson. Arav's voice carried not just wisdom, but proof. The proof of a man who had once been lost in comparison, but had found peace in embracing his own path. And as he stepped away from the podium, he saw Rohan at the back of the room clapping with pride. Their journeys were different, but their friendship remained the same. Both had found their place in the world, not through competition, but through understanding.
Arav's story spread beyond the village, told and retold as an example of the danger of comparison and the beauty of authenticity. It reminded people everywhere that life is not about outrunning others. It is about running your own race, in your own lane, at your own pace.
And in that truth, Arav finally found the freedom he had searched for all his life.